Audio Jungle.
I think it can be. If we can change our behavior on society, yes.
Yes.
Audio Jungle.
Who they're looking for, and instead of maybe looking for
Audio Jungle.
I was handcuffed and put on the most extreme.
Audio Jungle.
Yes, and I am a fan of police, but at the same time,
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
It was a speeding ticket.
It involves speeding in a town in Texas. And I think it was largely a result of the fact that I had New York license plates on my car.
and the cop pulled me over and he looked at my license and said, "Hey, Godfrey, do you always drive around without your lights on?" And I said, "No, I never do." And he goes, "Well, your lights are off." I said, "Oh, I
I
just..."
was handcuffed and put onto a cop vehicle on the hood of the car because they thought my friend had drugs in the car. And what I mean by drugs is weed. And my friend he was the one who was driving, and he was not handcuffed, he was not put in holding, and they didn't find any weed at all. It was just an excuse. And
I
so
was with my fraternity brothers in Atlanta, Georgia, and we were having a good time. It was during Freaknik, which many people probably don't even know what that is anymore. But we got basically charged with disorderly conduct, and
No.
Not racial discrimination. No, I felt a little bit stereotyped, like I mentioned, because I had longer hair back then. I may have looked like I was, up to no good during the time.
Racial discrimination during this process.
Not racial, perhaps regional.
yes. The first incident that I had mentioned for the weed, my friend was white, and he was driving, and somehow I was in cuffs. That was actually his first experience with racial discrimination, so that was eye-opening for him, which was a good thing.
not during that process, not at all.
Only one time.
Unsafe in the presence of the police. No, I can't say I have, actually. Probably more the opposite, but I guess I have a healthy respect for police. But
No. I felt uncomfortable in the presence of police, but not unsafe.
Every time I see police officers, I feel unsafe.
Do you have
No.
I don't know that I've had occasion to yet.
no, I can't say I have either as well. And I don't think they ever have. I think they like seeing police people, policemen, policewomen, but no, we've never felt unsafe. I think I could speak for them and say I don't think they've ever felt unsafe around any.
Not necessarily my children, but I have had talks with my children, especially my boys, how they conduct themselves, and when they're out in public, not everybody knows them and doesn't always assume that they're good kids. So we've definitely had the quote-unquote talk.
Audio Jungle.
I just am afraid I've seen too much evidence to the contrary of that.
Now, that's a good question. I would say no. Not every police person treats everyone equally with respect. And police officers are human beings, and I think there are plenty of police officers who are out there to do the right thing, to try and get it right. They're trying not to be racially prejudiced, everything like that. But there are plenty of police officers out there who don't do their job that way.
So far as my experience that I have, I would say yes.
No, and there, to a certain degree, they shouldn't. Known criminals should be approached with caution. But the stereotypes that happen, like with me, I think they have their own prejudices before they, talk to someone.
No, but I don't think people in general treat everybody equally. So I realize police are people, so I kind of hold them to the same accountability as I do most people.
I would have said if you came to me with that about 10 years ago, I think I would have been a little angry, but I'm not anymore. I would say it's a statistic me as a black man lives with. I know that when I get pulled over, I am more likely to end up in jail that night. It's just something you grow up with. Cops are the enemy. Don't talk to them. That's just what it is. And I think your question was, how does it make me feel? Or
Yeah.
Why do I think this is? Well, I think it's because of stereotypes that go back before we were even born. And unfortunately, those stereotypes are passed down from generation to generation. And I think with the culmination of the civil rights movement and more specifically Malcolm X and the Black Panther movements, blacks have been seen as a danger. And I think because of that, people tend to be more cautious. And that's putting it mildly when I say cops come to black neighborhoods to arrest black people.